To Celebrity Radio, it's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and we've got one for you today. A lady I've loved for over 30 years, the star of magic, the only female star of magic really in Britain ever, is Debbie McGee, and she's starring at the Grand Opera House in York in the brand new pantomime Aladdin, which is meant to be the biggest and best ever. Congratulations. How are you, Debbie?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you, Alex. Yes, what's lovely is Paul and I did the panto at the Opera House in 1995, would you believe? And now this is for the same producer who hasn't been putting the panto on there for years, but the production at the theatre, the management have asked him to come back. So yes, so they're, as they say in the business, they're throwing a lot of money at it. We've got all this 3D stuff, which I haven't actually seen yet. A lovely cast. I mean, we all met for a photo shoot way back in, I think, October time. And we all hit it off immediately at the photo shoot. So then some of us met to switch on the lights in York, and then we started rehearsing a week ago now. And we just all clicked. Often you have very happy companies, but it takes, the first week of rehearsal for you to get to know each other. But this company, I don't know, we've all got on and we all go out for lunch together and when we get a break, and yeah, fabulous.
Paul Sinha, the star of The Chase, and I'm delighted to say he joins us on the phone now. How are you, Paul?
I'm very well, thank you.
It is amazing, isn't it? People don't realise that you're actually a proper comedian.
It's weird. I mean, until you get on telly, sometimes as a professional, you don't seem to exist in the bigger world out there. But I've been doing comedy for nearly 20 years now. Well, professionally for about 15, 16 years. I've travelled the world. I'm a regular at all the big comedy clubs in the country, in particular the Comedy Store. I've done 3 national tours, and yet people still say to me, I had no idea. I've even done the Palladium this year, the TV show, and people still say to me, I had no idea you do comedy. And yet every time I walk out on The Chase, Bradley says it's the comedian Paul Sinha. So it's weird what people take in and what they don't.
I guess learning a script in pantomime is easy for you because you must have the type of brain that's able to retain stuff. I struggle with that. Sometimes I meet people in the supermarket and I can't remember who they are, and they're my direct family. It's a skill remembering.
Everybody's brains work in different ways. I'm not good with visuals, so I have the same thing as you. If I see, and I find it difficult to recognise people. In picture quizzes and pub quizzes, I'm no help at all. I'm just sat back going, you sort this out. Whereas I'm good with words. That's my strength.
Right.
And so learning a script hasn't been difficult because I'm good at connecting words and remembering which ones go where and why. And so that's a strength of mine, which is why I'm quite good at learning lists of facts, because lists of facts are words, and that is really where the strength of my brain lies. But it's just different for just everybody's brain works in different ways, and I know quizzes who are amazing at recognising faces, but I'm good at remembering names.
Interesting.
Everyone's brain works in a different way, but luckily my brain works in a way that has made it quite easy for me to learn the script.
They've been pretty smart as well, because they've put Suzanne in, who's got a great voice, Suzanne Shaw from Hearsay. They've put Paul Sinha in, who's, of course, the comedian from The Chase, who's brilliant. They've got you for the glamour and the magic. They've got Carl Tracy, who is just full of energy. That's what you need, isn't it? A variety cast for a pantomime.
Yeah, I think that's probably in a way why we've all clicked as well. Everybody can do their job, and and as you say, they're all so talented. And the lovely Fraser Hines, who people remember from Doctor Who and Emmerdale. In fact, he flew back from Chicago and started rehearsals a day late. He was over at some big Doctor Who thing in Chicago. So it's great. We've all got experience apart from Paul Sinha, the Sinnerman, but of course he's so intelligent that he thinks everything through, and we've all loved watching his progress from the first day of rehearsals to the second to the third, and how quickly he improves. And he's going to be absolutely wonderful.
The show itself, they're saying the biggest ever. I'm presuming that Aladdin is going to have all the whizzes and bangs that we look forward to. It's certainly got a good cast, a talented cast. What do we get in terms of the production itself?
Well, they put the set in yesterday, so I haven't seen it yet. We've just been rehearsing in a rehearsal room. But I've been told that, all the costumes are new. The sets are going to be absolutely stunning. And then I'm not allowed to give away kind of what they're going to have, the flying carpet and all of that. But of course, Aladdin does have all of that, doesn't it? Mm. So I'm sure that whatever they do, it is going to be sort of bigger than and better than anything that the Opera House has had before.
We look around and we see the biggest stars in show business turning up in panto. I wonder when the phone call came in, what your reaction was, because this isn't a natural fit, is it, to be wearing Abanazar's costume and turning up at York for Aladdin?
I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. When the phone call came in, my answer was no. And the reason my answer was no is we get booked up for comedy quite far in advance now. Mm. And I already had plenty of work in December. And the idea of ditching all those gigs to do something that I'd never done before didn't fill me with a great thrill. But lucky enough, I was recording The Chase that week. So I had quite a long chat with Bradley about it. Who is, of course, king of the format and an absolute veteran. Yeah. And he insisted that I should go for it as a new challenge to take yourself out of the comfort zone. Because I could be earning a decent wage doing what I do every December, standing around in front of drunk Christmas parties, reciting my jokes by rote. Or I could do something that takes me completely out of my comfort zone. Mm. And I decided to go for it. I didn't realise that I'd only have a one-day Christmas when I decided when I agreed to go for it. But so far, so good. I'm not. Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm not a natural fit. But then the other thing I thought is Mark Lebet's been Abanazar, the Beast. Right. He's been Abanazar in Rotherham, and if he can do it, I can do it. it's really the other thing I thought. And actually, I was initially offered the Genie. And then they changed their mind and offered me Abanazar, and I was like, I'm not sure I want a really big part for my first panto. But now I'm absolutely delighted. Now having been through a week's rehearsals, I'm absolutely delighted that I've got one of the bigger roles, because you just feel more part of it.
Do you pinch yourself sometimes, especially when you're in perhaps 2 weeks in and it's a Wednesday matinee and you look in that mirror and think, have I got to do this again? How do you get around the psychology of it? Because it is tough and hard work.
It is, but I've always loved performing, and that has never been a problem. Getting to a gig is sometimes the problem, which here I haven't, because I haven't got to travel. Yeah. But I get this kind of real buzz minutes before I go on stage that I can't wait to get out there. Yeah. And even on a day, especially over Christmas, in panto, and you're tired and you might have had a little bit too much to eat and drink the day before, there is still that buzz. And once I get that, you go on and everything else is forgotten and you just have a great time. So I'm very lucky that I never really seem to need to wind myself up. But if I do feel a bit flat, I've got different techniques of breathing that I watched Baryshnikov do when he was guesting with the Royal Ballet years ago. Of this, you might have seen Madonna do it sometimes, where you do this huffing and puffing, and then you run on the spot, and then you get faster and faster and faster, and then you walk on stage slowly. And Paul used to do that as well. If we were tired and we were on tour, we used to stand in the wings on either side of the stage, because we'd enter from different sides, looking at each other, and as they were playing the overture, we'd start trotting on the spot, getting faster, and like being in a race. And then when it was our cue, suddenly you kind of breathe out and walk on, and it does create a presence as well. It gives you something, and I think your audience pick up on it. So that's what I'll be doing on the days I'm tired in panto. I'll be having a good old jog on the spot.
That must be thrilling, to have the live band, to have an all-star cast, and to be part of that ensemble where the pressure's not on you, because stand-up comedy is terrifying, isn't it?
Well, stand-up comedy is terrifying. This will be equally terrifying. I have the opening monologue of the whole thing. Every day I'm the first person on stage. Right. And that is going to be big pressure. So I think this is probably going to be more terrifying. But once I start shouting at the children, "Oh yes I am," and they start shouting about, "Oh no you're not," I'm going to really get into it, I think. But that first opening monologue is just like, and I've got to, and funnily enough, in the opening monologue, I list all the planets one by one, and so I bring a bit of my quiz knowledge into the opening monologue, which will probably help me relax. But I'm just thinking, it'll just be my luck that in the opening monologue I'll forget what the planets are in order as the professional quizzer.
Do you have to speak in rhyme, or do you do yours just as a script? Because often they do that, don't they, where everything has to sort of flow.
It's a little bit of both. There was a couple of bits that have been written as rhymes. But there's a couple of bits where some of the words have accidentally rhymed with each other that have turned into rhyme, just to improve the rhythm of the dialogue. So it's all good fun. I mean, it's been a great first week, and meeting performers who I've seen on the telly, but who've all lived very, very different lives and have a very, very different background from me. Fraser Hines, the TV veteran of Doctor Who and Emmerdale. Suzanne Shaw, who's been performing all her life.
Great voice,
but has been just a natural performer who's been performing all of her life. And then Carl Tracy, who's perhaps the least known of the main cast, but has got the biggest role of Aladdin. And he's Timberlake-esque in his singing and dancing.
Wow.
He's going to break a few hearts.
And those people are the drive of the show as well. I mean, their energy is incredible. I'm always amazed by those juvenile leads, as they call them, that drive those pantos. Amazing.
Yeah, well, he's 30, but he looks about 20. Damn him.
Listen, it's been lovely talking to you. I'd love to talk to you again in detail about your life and career, because it's been extraordinary, but we wish you well with the pantomime. Aladdin is on at the Grand Theatre in York from December the 9th through January the 1st. Keep on keeping on the chase, because we love that. And as you say, Bradley has to be one of our greatest stars ever. And we love that programme very much, and we wish you all the best. Paul Sinha, great to talk to you.
Thank you very much.